Hey, it's Rachael Kraft, and welcome to the third episode of the Magnet Mondays free video series. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a lead magnet that I actually created for angiecoley.com. It's a really great example, and going through the specifics has a few really important lessons. So let's get started. First off, if this is your first episode with Magnet Monday, basically what we're going to do is talk about some of the best lead magnets that businesses are using to energize their prospects and promote action. In each episode, we're going to look at what's working well, how did they do it, and can this work for your business? In the past episodes, I've looked at lead magnets that were created by other people or other businesses out there. In this one, this is a lead magnet that I worked on personally with one of my clients. So you'll get a little bit more of a behind the scenes of how it all went down. To start off, let me introduce you to Angie Coley in case you haven't met her, had the opportunity to learn about her materials. Her website is angiecoley.com, and she's a direct response marketer with over $30 million in sales. She's worked with some really famous names that you probably have heard of, including Lowe's Masterclass, Kevin Rogers of Copy Chief, and Jeff Walker of the Product Launch Formula. And over her time working in these different working with these different clients, she's seen behind the scenes for every kind of sale or promotion you can think of, including multi-channel coast-to-coast media blitzes or marketing live events that routinely bring in thousands of people from around the world. So Angie has some extremely wonderful insight on how to market businesses, and she's looking for a way to build her website, angiecoley.com, and start promoting her ideas. So Angie came to me and she said, I have this idea for a lead magnet for a product. I have this whole system in mind, but I need help getting it together. She obviously could do this herself. She's extremely talented, but as many marketers are, she just didn't have enough time. She didn't have the time to sit down and flesh it all out. So she came to me for some help. So we started off by just kind of having some back and forth chats. What were the ideas that she wanted to include in her lead magnet? What was the framework that she was going to be teaching? What was her system? Well, she had a lot of ideas kind of scattered here and there written down. She had never sat down to actually put it together all into one cohesive plan. So I was able to help her do that. We had a lot of back and forth interviews. She recorded some videos and sent them to me, just talking through some ideas that she had. I would ask questions. She would send me an email saying, oh my gosh, I just thought of this new idea. I would do the same. So it was really a back and forth process so that we could start to kind of nail down what the concept of her lead magnet was going to be. Once we got to the point where we had a pretty solid understanding of what her concept was going to be, we got to the writing phase. Now, Angie is an extremely talented writer. So again, this is something she could have done herself, but she just didn't have enough time. So what I did is I sat down and I wrote the initial report for her lead magnet. This was going to be an informational report that explained her system and also included step-by-step templates that her prospects could read and use and apply right away. So we went through the first writing phase. I wrote it out and I sent it to her, and we chose to work in Google Documents. When you're working on a collaborative article or a piece of writing, Google Documents is a wonderful tool because each person can see the changes and have conversations in the comments area real time. So there's no issue of sending, me sending version 6 and her sending version 7 and then forgetting about version 8. It doesn't get lost in the shuffle because it's all hosted on Google Documents. So we worked together, we edited the piece, and then we got to the point where we were happy with the draft that we had. Now it was time for design. Angie already had some initial design ready for her website. She already had some initial branding. So it was just a matter of applying that to her lead magnet and then making it so that it would be interactive for her prospects, making it so that the templates and worksheets that she wanted to include were actually going to work. Okay, so enough talk. Let's actually look at the lead magnet. So I am going to attempt here to pull this up. Okay, looks like it worked all right. Let me just make it so I can see it now. Okay, so we're looking first at the long version of the lead magnet. Now I say long version because we actually ended up creating two different versions of this lead magnet. The long version, this is the original one, and this ended up being around 20 5 to 28 pages. And it explains her system. It has a full table of contents, and it's very, very detailed. Her system is how you can build growth and sales formulas for any business, breaking it down into the very, very nuts and bolts that are going to create a strong promotion. So yeah, that doesn't do it justice. It's a really, really awesome report, so I definitely recommend that you check out angiecoley.com. But as you can see, the design here, we put in some illustrations. Towards the end, we put in some very strong calls to action. Her call to action for this is she wanted people, once they read the report, to hire her then as a copy chief that could be rented on a project by project basis. So a lot of her prospects are people who are marketers themselves, and they just need a little more confidence in their copy. So that was her call to action that you can see right here. And then we get into the interactive portion. She has created a very, very detailed template, and then we have a version that could actually be printed out and then filled out by the prospect. Now at this point we're thinking, okay, yeah, it's great to have something that can be printed out, but some people don't like to print and write with their hands. They just want to have it all digital. So we also included up at the top a spot for a link that would take them to a digital Google Doc version of this template, which they could then type and fill in. So that's really key. I wanted to show you that when you have a lead magnet that has some sort of interactive element, try to make it accessible to as many people as possible. Not everybody wants to print something out. Not everybody wants to read something. Sometimes it's better to include it in an audio version or a video version or a digital version. So think about your prospect and how they want to consume that material. Okay, then we have another checklist, another template, and that's the end. Now, when we finished this lead magnet, we were both very happy with it, but it was big. We had used this opportunity to get all of Angie's ideas out onto paper, and it was a big, long lead magnet. In fact, it almost wasn't even a lead magnet anymore. It was so much value that it made a lot more sense to consider this now a paid product. So here's what we did. This is kind of cool. What we did is we went from that long version to a short version. So we picked out certain aspects of that original lead magnet, and we said, okay, for the new lead magnet, we just need really this piece and this piece and this piece. So this is what the second version looked like. This is the shortened version that's now being used as a lead magnet. So again, it is the report. Now the report is only about 3 pages. It's much shorter. And then we have just one template. As you can see, that's a huge shortening. This is an appropriate lead magnet because it could be used within 5 to 20 minutes. It could be consumed very quickly. But what happened to that first lead magnet? Angie decided to take that first report and transition it. It's no longer a lead magnet, it's now a paid product. So that's a really important lesson as well. Sometimes you just need to get all of your ideas out. You need to get them on paper, get them clear, get everything figured out step by step in your mind, and then cherry pick out the pieces you want to use for your real lead magnet, and that original thing that you've created is a perfect thing to transition into a paid product. All right, so I'm going to show you one more thing. So we have the short version. Let's go back to our original presentation here. So looking at the lead magnet, build bigger things from that lead magnet. You don't need to ever hold back when you're putting your ideas down. Just get everything out, pick out the pieces that you want to include in your actual lead magnet, and the rest can then be transitioned into a bigger product. All right, so this is what her call to action looks like. When you click on that call to action link, you go to this landing page where you can rent a copy chief, and I'll have the URL for that a little bit later. And as you can see, we went from a super meaty 24-page document with 4 pages of worksheets down to a 5-page document with just one main template. So the original report that was up here, the really big one, is now a low-ticket offer. She's selling it for people. Okay. One more thing that she did with this is she decided to take that content from the original report and transition it into a training. So this part is still being developed. These are just a couple slides that we're working on, and you can see that there's going to be a hole in the lower right-hand corner, similar to where my face is right now, where Angie is going to be placing her face, and teaching a live training and then recording that. So again, you can see how our process of building a lead magnet has resulted in an actual lead magnet, a paid report, and then also a video training. So pretty cool to see how all of that has evolved. Okay, so once again, we're talking about having a lead magnet that is interactive. So for Angie's, she has these detailed templates. She has a version that can be filled out. And then as I mentioned, there was a link that would then take you to the Google Doc version. This is a digital version. Okay, on each one of these, we have a call to action that is going to lead to that Rent a Copy Chief sales page that I showed you a moment ago. So I just want to send a huge thank you to Angie Coley. This was a testimonial that she gave me. This is just a portion of it, but she says she highly recommends Rachael. She delivers on her promises. The work is outstanding, and she has a gift for dragging golden nuggets right out of my brain and plunking them down on the page. You can't go wrong in hiring her. So thank you so much for saying that, Angie. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me use your case as an example in this series. So if you'd like to learn more about Angie Coley, go to angiecoley.com. If you'd like to specifically take her up on her Rent a Chief offer, you can go to Rent a Copy Chief as a tag. All right, so every lead magnet that you have is going to serve these purposes. Okay, build your list, attract your ideal prospects. You've seen this before if you've watched any of my videos, but I feel that this lead magnet that we created did a really great job of addressing all 7 of these great purposes for a lead magnet. How could this be improved? Well, as I mentioned, Angie is still building this. We're still working on the presentation side of it. So I would encourage her to continue to expand the way these materials would be used to create paid products and trainings. Your key takeaways from this video is sometimes you just need to get all of your ideas down so you can find clarity in your system. Don't be afraid to just do a brain dump of all of your concepts and all of your ideas in your system. Then you can use your lead magnet as a launching point for bigger things. You may need to cherry pick parts of your original lead magnet so that you don't overwhelm your prospect. And you can see that's what we did when we created that big, beautiful original report. We picked out just 5 pages of it to use for the real lead magnet, and then that report transitioned into a low ticket offer. All right, so that was our 3rd episode of Lead Magnet Mondays. If you would like to learn more about what I do, check out craftedonline.com/free guide, or there's my email if you'd like to drop me a note. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes of Lead Magnet Monday coming soon.